All right, we'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. This is our regular monthly meeting for February. And if everyone at this time will join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. This time, please stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Moving down now to approving our agenda. Are there any additions to our agenda for this evening? If not, I need a motion to approve the agenda. A motion by Mr. Bowers.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And at this time, we'll move down with Ms. Newberry for recognitions.
Well, good evening. It's so good to see your smiles. Happy to be here. Good evening to you board members and those guests who are with us. I've got a few recognitions. I warned you all last month that I've kind of backdated, so I've got a few to recognize. Over these past few months, obviously we've been filled with a lot of uncertainty and difficult times, yet our students have pushed forward and they have strengthened their resilience muscles and have achieved great things. So tonight I want to highlight a few of those. I'm going to begin with a young lady who was chosen by our Greater Muhlenberg Chamber as the Youth Citizen of the Year, Miss Susan Newberry. Here's what the nomination said about Susan. Susan Newberry is a 10-year 4-H'er that has passion for making a difference in her community and is a gold achievement recipient. Susan saw a need when she learned of SNAP Ed dollars not covering specific hygiene products. She wanted to find a way to help fellow students in her community. In 2019, Susan founded Hearts for Health, a service project she established to collect basic hygiene items. Each month in the club year, Susan selected different hygiene products to be the focus of her monthly collection drive. Susan promoted her drive on social media to the Homemaker Club and all community clubs. At the end of the year, Susan donated all items to the Youth Service Center in our district. In 2021, Susan expanded her service project by partnering with our 9 school principals to connect directly with classroom clubs as well and to increase her donations. Her first donation was made to her local food pantry, Hope to All, benefiting hundreds of local families. She was recognized at the December Chamber. Just want to say congratulations again to Susan. My next recognition goes to 4 students who were accepted into the Kentucky Music Educators Association All-Star Chorus. I know you're only seeing 3. 2 are high school students, Ayub Shabbat and Isaiah Ball. Unfortunately, Isaiah was unable to attend the KMEA conference, which was the first week of February due to being quarantined. The other 2 are middle school students, Lily Cheney and Sarah Armstrong. If you'll go to the next screen, Miss Melanie Smith provided some pictures there of them in action. That's Sarah there on the left, Ayub in the middle with Miss Smith, and then Miss Smith with Lily Cheney on the right. So congratulations, that's quite an honor to go to an all-state chorus, and they were able to perform except for Isaiah.
They performed in the hotel too.
They did, yes. Did you get to hear them?
Yes, I did.
Wonderful. All right.
Great.
Continuing with our good student citizens, Mr. James Alex Robards. He was selected by the Daughters of the American Revolution as the 2021-2022 Muhlenberg County Good Citizen. James Alex
Alex was nominated and voted on by the MCHS faculty this year, and he will be eligible for state and national scholarships through the Daughters of the American Revolution, should he choose to pursue them. So congratulations to James Alex. Then my final recognition is in the sports category. Mr. Peyton Crick was selected as the 2021-2022 Midway University KHSAA Boys Swimming Student Athlete of the Year. He and his teammates represented Muhlenberg County well at the state swim competition this past week. So congratulations to Peyton. There are so many students achieving and excelling throughout our school district. It's been an honor to recognize these participants this evening. We could go on with a huge list. There's so many to recognize, and I'll try to do better, but yet I know that your time is valuable in selecting them. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to all of our students.
I'd like to say a special congratulations to Peyton Crick. You know I love you.
Move down now to our treasurer's report. Mr. Bledsoe.
Window shared.
This time is up.
Okay, well, fair enough. Okay. There it is. Tonight I bring you the financials as of January 31st, 2022. Our beginning balance is at 28.4 million, which is up 3.65 million. That's due to taxes, the tax received. Our monthly receipts are up 2.3 million from last month, which is from TBA, which is actually down about almost $1 million from last year. So at 6.36 million. As I said, monthly receipts are up 2.3 million from last month, and they're down 458,000 from the same period last year. Federal is up 149,000, state is up 9,000, taxes are down 3.95 million, other is down 193,000, food service is down 173,000, and daycare is up 97,000 for total monthly receipts of 10.14 million. For total securities and receipts of 38.55 million. I did not advance that slide, so I apologize. So I just told you. The expenditures for this month, for January, total accounts payable was about 1.07 million. It's up approximately 339,000 when compared to the same period of last year. The significant bills in January were Old National Wealth Management of 209,000 and Tommy Middleton of 108,000. Payroll is 2.797 million, and it's up 229,000 versus January of 2021. And the use of federal funds, this is mainly for the use of federal funds. It costs more in health benefits, so that is included in those numbers. For a total expenses of 3.869 million. Accounts payable breakdown, fixed and mixed expenses are 690,000, utilities are at 123,000, and variable expenses are at 259,000. A further breakdown of that, general fund is 694,000, Fund 2 and school activity funds are 96,000, construction was a little over $3,000, debt service 210,000, food service and daycare was 67,000, and scholarships were 1,000. The ledger balance at the close of the month was 34.684 million. The bank balance is 27.5. Outstanding checks of about 835,000 for a cash close of 26.7 million. Breakdown of that cash balance is general fund was at 21.6 million, was up about 3.8. Special revenue at 648,000. A deficit of about 649,000. However, that is up 2.6 million from the previous month because we did a large federal cash request in the month of December. Construction is about 4.3 million. It's down about the $3,000, and debt service is at a 1.12 deficit for 210,000. Those were the significant ones. So a total of 34.684 million, which is up 6 million from the previous month. Extended financial picture. Through June of 2022, the end of the fiscal year, we expect to have about 28 million in the bank. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions regarding the treasurer's report? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
I have a motion by Ms. Love and a second by Ms. Bard. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And we're down to payment of bills and salaries.
Bringing you the February 2022 board bills of $608,976.86. Utilities expense was about $62,000. Fixed and mixed expenses, $500,656, and variable expenses of about $47,000. The large payments for the vendors were $309,000 to train, and that was for the ionization in the schools and this building. So that is something that's a project that's complete. And Old National Wealth Management, I cannot seem to get that one out today. $109,806. Are there any questions with those?
Any questions regarding payment of bills and salaries? If not, I need a motion to approve. A motion by Mr. Jowar.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of payment of bills and salaries, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Aye.
Thank you.
And we'll move down now to public participation. Thank you. We'll move down now to our administrative reports. With Mr. Davis's superintendent report.
All right, thank you, Chairman Rager, board members. Several things to go through. I'll do this relatively quickly as I can, and we'll finish up with the principal's reports at the end. Jump right into it. Optional masking. Obviously, we started that today. I'll let principals talk about that a little bit more. I was in 6 of the schools, I think, today, and pretty good energy. It was just a good day. And I want to commend the board, and I'll talk through this just a little bit, for basically allowing me to kind of make the call when it seemed right, because the cases have dropped so dramatically. I mean, it just like 3 weeks ago, it was nowhere near here, and kind of been working on you for a couple of weeks, kind of giving you some data and, you know, kind of keeping you up with that, and a lot of phone calls. And so what needs to be understood, in the past, you guys have voted on this, and we're all over the place as far as districts on voting or not. Some boards do, some don't, some do it sometimes and not all the time. So it's not like we had any special meeting or we got away with something. It's just basically, as I said, just to let folks know, I've been working behind the scenes with you individually a lot, to send you a lot of data and saying, hey, you know, I kind of think it's time. Can we, instead of waiting another week or two, to get all this rolled out? So that's kind of the way this went down, and I'm just very grateful that you guys have listened, and I know it's tougher for you than some, and I think our folks do respect that and do appreciate that. I know I certainly do. So again, I think it went pretty well today. Let me talk a little bit more about the optional, kind of what that means and why we did it. The number one thing is the cases just dropped dramatically. I mean, we've been watching that for a while. And so without that, none of these other things probably would have mattered as much, but that's number one. Number two, I've never really been interested in being the guinea pig on this, and I know you guys haven't either, but other districts have gone 2-3 weeks, some for months, and we talk all the time. And that doesn't mean what another district does we have to do, but that's valuable information. And they have been ahead of us, some of these have. A lot of them went last week, you know, so several are going about now, but they're not showing any measurable increase in cases at all. They're having good results from going. That mattered to me, because if they said, hey, we went, and that happened a couple of months ago, a district or two went, and we had to go right back. Well, you don't want to go back if you can help it, because that's another backlash, and I get all that. So I've been talking with them, about 20 districts probably all together, in just daily and comparing notes. So that's a big thing. Another one, just to be honest, and this has been this way for a while, but we have no community alignment. I mean, it's tough to be the last bastion holding on, and you go to churches, you go to Walmart, you go to any kind of event, and it's not the case. Now, that's not to say I'm not judging them at all. I'm just saying that's the reality of it. When you're trying to hold the line, it's harder to get buy-in. It's harder to get that. It's been getting harder and harder. So that was the big thing. And again, optional masking does not mean no masking. And so folks now do have the option. Several were masked today. In other districts, I'm hearing 15% or so of their folks, maybe 20% just continue to wear them.
We had one kid chase a car today because he didn't have his mask.
Yeah, we had a situation.
Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I did. I didn't want to talk about that, but yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you there.
I thought you
No,
probably won't bring that
I
up.
know, and I doubt the principal of that school does either. But we got through it. All right, I got to regroup here. We have tried, and I know principals have done this very consciously today, to make sure students who choose to wear a mask feel comfortable doing it. That's very important to us, is because some may do it for a long time. I can see 5 years from now, if COVID's gone, some may say, hey, during flu season, I want to wear a mask. That's fine. So we have really worked on that, and we'll continue to try to work on that. Somebody doesn't feel out of place. If they choose to continue to wear one. So those are some of the cases that I made, and I gave you a lot more numbers than that. I won't go into it all. And we're still doing a bit of a layered approach. We're still masking on buses, which to at least March 19th, that's a federal thing. We're still doing the 5+5, which means if you are positive, then you have 5 days you have to stay home. And then when you come back without symptoms, you have to wear a mask for 5 more days. If you're in test to stay, you're having to wear a mask in that case. We're still household contacts, still contact tracing there. And I want to tell you what you still may hear, because it's very frustrating if you're in a home and there's like this one's positive and so you're quarantined, and about the time they get off, then another one becomes positive. So we could have some positive for 2 to 3 weeks, and that hasn't changed. So the household thing is still an issue. We're still sticking with that on the contact tracing. So you could very well see some cases, large families, kid could be out a while. It's frustrating, but we're sticking with that because we see so often that if you're in a household, you often, very often, become positive. We're still maximizing our distancing as much as we can. Lunches we've got spread out, like the high school, they're all up on that mezzanine kind of, and we're hanging in there with that for a while longer before we pull back from that. So we're still doing that. Classroom as much as we can. Some are large and it's harder. We're still encouraging, and I'll do it again now, our folks to stay home if you have symptoms. And you know, in the old days, it's like, go to work, go to class. And now it could even be a cold. And I will tell you, other things are going around now. Stomach virus is definitely hitting us. Obviously, you stay home for that. But any symptom, we're kind of saying stay home now. And it's almost overdoing it at times. You know, you got sniffles. So that's something we're trying to figure out and work through. We're still limiting visitors. And we still don't have mentoring going. And Carla and I have talked, we want so bad to get the mentoring going. Such a big deal. So we'll have those conversations. And visitors, we're probably going to hold off a little bit longer on that again. 2 or 3 more weeks. Let's just see if we stay where we are, and then maybe we can start letting folks come back. And as Eric mentioned earlier, the air ionization units are now in place, something we didn't have before. That's supposed to help with this, with flu, with everything. So those are just some of the things I just kind of want to make folks, and you guys, we've already been talking about it, but say it out loud. There's still some of the things in place, and hopefully we can back off some of those over time if if the cases stay low. Speaking of the cases, I'll give you some numbers. I did just see before I came in here, the health department posted 30 cases, and I think that's from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. They're only going to post twice a week now, is my understanding. So that's 7.5 cases a day. 0 is better, but that's a lot better than 200 and 190 what we were having. We now and I will say the state positivity rate is down under 13%. That's the lowest it's been in a long time. We have, out of our 4,200 students now, we have 5 students positive total and 14 quarantined. Y'all remember we were 230 something and 440 something just a few weeks ago. We have 2 positive staff members out of 800 and 6 quarantines there. So the numbers continue to back up what we're trying to do. Feel pretty comfortable that we're really just dropping so quickly. It's so encouraging. So moving on from that, we are continuing to work on our strategic plan. We have met with 7 focus groups now, and from parents, classified, certified, community members, kids. That was the best one. Listen to our students. They were incredibly impressive. And now our steering committee is starting to meet, which is basically some of our leadership team, principal from each level. And Vice Chairman Wells was there as well for our first meeting. As we take all the data and we start kind of condense it and come up with some small, something, a plan that's not 10 pages thick, 1 page, something we can work with. And we are also now doing an employment engagement survey. So all of our employees are taking a survey now. It's about to be open 2 weeks, so that'll be more data that we'll bring in. And all right, what do we need to do better? What are we doing okay we need to hold on to? So I'm excited about that. It's been a tough time to do it during COVID. People aren't really in great mood all the time, so you're not going to get the best out of folks. But we're hearing things we need to hear, and we'll make some adjustments from there. Calendar, really quickly, I put this out on the video as well because we're getting some questions about, and when's graduation? I need to know. When's the last day? I need to know. I get that. We simply don't know. We are right now at May 20th, and Brent can correct me here in a minute if I'm wrong on any of this, but that includes the 5 days we missed for the tornado. There's legislation out there. It's already passed the House. It's in the Senate now. If that passes, we'll get relief from those 5 days, which would move us back to May the 13th. The problem is, I don't know when that's going to be, and I don't know if they will pass it. It could be a month. So that puts us in a bind and puts our folks in the community in a bind, but I want them to know, we want to know as well. And the other thing is, we have used 7 out of our 10 NTI days. So if we go over, if we miss more than 3 more, then we just have to add them to the end. There is no other option. And this week looks tricky. I was in a couple of weather meetings today, and one meeting, and then they keep giving follow-ups. Maybe flooding tonight and some severe stuff potentially, and then maybe Wednesday night some more flooding and maybe even some freezing rain. Looks like it may stay a little west of us, but again, all this is tricky, so we could miss a little time. And again, something I want to put out there, I've had some people question me, well, why do you go an hour late when it's flooding? It's still going to be flooded. It's to get daylight. It's for our drivers, especially our bus drivers who leave so early, they have a better idea of what they're going into. So that's, if we go late for flooding, that's why we do that. So that's where we are with the calendar. I'm hoping for May 13th. That's the very earliest it could be. And it could be up into May 20-something if legislation doesn't come through and weather gets bad. So that's really the best we can do. Speaking of legislation, we're watching the budget bills, all pretty education friendly. So, we're fairly pleased with what we're seeing. Still pushing for things, but much better than we've been in the past. A big one for our district if it goes through, something we've asked for, KDE is helping us on. The tornado impacted districts, if we could get them to hold on to allow us to use our 18-19 ADA numbers for 2 to 5 more years, we're asking for 5. That would be so helpful for our district. One, we're losing kids anyway, but this is for the kids who are displaced, the kids are, the families are having to rebuild. This may take years. So I'm hopeful for that, but I really haven't heard anything. We can't really get an answer on that. That's out there. So that's something we're hoping for, as well as the tornado day relief. One other thing to mention, and I'll let Eric talk a bit when we get to our principals. We'll be bringing a salary schedule to you probably in a couple of months. And what we're looking at, what Eric is doing is I've asked him to take each of the districts that border us and try to take all the categories, certified and classified. But right now we're really looking at classified because certified is one category. It's a little more simple. But try to take each of the categories, be it a bus driver or a custodian or a lunchroom worker, whatever, and see what the others are paying around us, because we have to be competitive with them, and kind of find the average of that and see where we are, and then we're going to talk about getting to there. Now that may mean that some folks get a different percentage raise than the others, but I think if we're basing it on solid data, that's basically a big market adjustment. Because if you've been behind, let's just say our custodians are relatively close to neighboring districts, but bus drivers are not. Well, every time you give a raise, it just gets bigger and bigger gap. So he's been working on this for a while. We're having a conversation about it again in the morning, and I'll be talking to you guys along the way. But that's what we're doing with salary schedule. We've been working on this for a while. I mean, months, to get to where we're trying to go. So we'll be bringing you something, again, you think in April, probably. Kind of excited to make a bit of an adjustment and try to get our folks where they need to be. Now, I'll say, we are losing folks, as are all districts, to Arby's, to Walmart, potentially because some of them have jacked their price, their pay up so much. And honestly, we can't compete with that. But we have to compete with neighboring districts. That's who we're losing them to, that we can stop. We can't lose folks to McLean County, to Todd County, to Logan and all, because the pay is significantly different. Now, in Davis County, with a huge tax base, it's going to be hard to match, but we're not bordering them. So that's what we're kind of looking at. And again, when you look at Arby's, a lot of folks just look at that dollar amount. Well, they don't have the days we do, the hours we do, or the insurance we do, but these neighboring districts do. So just want to kind of give you a preview of what's coming on that. And Eric, if you would talk facilities for just a second.
As I mentioned, we did, the ionization project is done, so it's supposed to help eliminate more of the contaminants in the air, and that goes from bacteria, viruses, even to odors. So hopefully we'll see a difference there. The cafeteria, they have much of the footer walls poured. They're looking at they're hoping to have footers poured in the next couple weeks, really, and then to be working on getting that flooring done and starting to get plumbing and those sorts of things in there. I did send out the timeline to all of you. One of the things that we have that is really going to be our biggest crux is getting electrical. And so the services have been ordered, but they aren't expected to get here until August. That's the tough part. So they'll have the cafeteria and everything else done. You just can't get electricity to it. So we're trying to plan for that, make adjustments as needed. And I think the construction company's been working well with us, but our food service has really been integrated into that, and we've been having those discussions. So we're prepping even now for next September. So there's a lot of moving parts going on with that. South Middle, I'm working on getting appraisers in. The state says you have to have 3 appraisers, so we'll have to get 3 appraisals done. We'll look to list that property once that's done, or at least begin the discussions on how we want to proceed with offloading that property. You'll have to get the appraisals. We can set a price, and then as long as it's kind of in line, the KDE has to approve of that. Then if you're not getting bites on that, then we can go into competitive negotiation, it's called. And if we still don't get where we want, we can then start looking at putting it on sealed bids, those sorts of things. So there's all kinds of options that are available. So, but the process is beginning. So we're looking at that. It's obviously it's being used right now, but we're also looking at making sure that the county knows as well that this is what we're doing now. I communicated that to them today, actually. So we're beginning this process, just so you guys are aware. Once we start making that transition, it's still a ways out, so they have plenty of time, but we want to make them aware.
We really can't do anything until we get the appraisals done, so why not go ahead and move on that? Then we can have the conversations, and I don't know, when the time comes, we're gonna have to have some pretty in-depth conversations. I would love to be able to have use of that gym. But to do that, is there some way to work that out? I don't know. But until we get this done, there's no need in really having great discussions on it yet. We want to let you know that we are starting that. Scott Noel gave Eric some appraisers that they recommended today, and so we'll start on that. But that's good. You guys have any questions? If not, I want to jump into principals and let them go. I think I may have Lori here for this. Let's start with Mr. Lau.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. First of all, I want to give a big congratulations to our 8th grade boys basketball team. They are the GRVC, Green River Valley Conference champions, so very proud of them, Coach Sullivan, and all of their hard work this year. Also, recently we received the Impact Kentucky results, the survey results on working conditions, and just real quick, out of 206 middle schools in managing student behavior, we were in the top 3. In school climate, we were in the top 5. In emotional well-being, we were in the top 6. In resources, top 6. Staff leadership relationships, top 7. Leadership, top 11. And feedback and coaching, top 13. So very proud of those results and what we've seen there. And then tomorrow is 2/22/22. So we are making that twins, ties, and tennis shoes day tomorrow, where students can dress as twins or triplets or quadruplets, whatever they want to do. They can wear ties or mixed match tennis shoes. So looking for a fun day with that tomorrow. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Lyle. Mr. Rager.
Well, I'm sure at all schools, it was so nice to see the smiling faces of the students and staff today. Got to actually see what a lot of people look like today. So that was very refreshing. The kids and staff enjoyed that today. And I do want to congratulate Mr. Lyle and the 8th grade boys for winning the GRVC in the 8th grade. Our 7th grade team fell a little short. We were the 7th grade runners up in the GRVC tournament, but still, finished with a good year. Our North Middle archery team participated in regionals on February 12th, and we placed 4th overall with a score of 3,014. Brawley Randolph was 3rd place. Gabby Hayward was 1st place, and Gabby and Briley have placed individually at every tournament they participated in this season. So those girls are exceptional in archery. We're also doing a Tuesday tomorrow for 2/22/22, where the students are going to be coming as duos and twins and ties and things like that tomorrow as a theme. So that's kind of what's going on here at North Middle. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rager. Ms. Bumps, are you available? I think you're at the district tournament game. There you are.
I am at the district tournament game, but it's so that you don't have to see my face, I'll instead show you the tip-off while I make a very brief principal's report. As you all know, we are hosting district games this week at Muhlenberg County High School. Tonight, our Lady Mustangs tip off against McLean County. When we win, so there's a positive there, we will play in the championship game Wednesday night at 6. And then our boys are the 1 seed, and they will play Thursday night in the championship game against the winner between McLean and Ohio County. Other things that's going on in Mustang Nation, we had the band to participate in WKU Honor Stand over the weekend. And then we had our 4 finalists for GSA, Governor School, for the arts announced over the weekend. And they are Oj Kabat, Rachel Joins, Zoe Hobby, and Carter Edwards. So keeping it very brief so that I can start yelling at the officials and support the kids. That's my Christmas report.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bumps. And I asked her this morning, I was at the high school and the kids came in and they were interacting, they were smiling and all. I said, are they always this upbeat on a Monday morning? She said, no, I think maybe the mask got something to do with it. All right, Mr. Watkins.
Good afternoon, and kind of to repeat what Mr. Rager said, it's kind of weird to say, but it was good to see their mouth and their face today, and a lot can be said, a lot can be told by facial expressions. So it was good to see the kids smiling and even frowning at times. And speaking as a parent of 2 kids that go to our schools, they were both really excited. This morning, my 6-year-old girl, as soon as she woke up, the first thing out of her mouth was, we still don't have to wear the mask, right? So she's never been to school without a mask. So I was excited for her today, but I wasn't able to attend the last board meeting. So I wanted to kind of give a mid-year review update from the Renaissance Center. We have 25 students right now enrolled at ALC. We've had 10 students who have successfully met goals and expectations to exit our program. And so far, out of all 10 of those students, they've all been successful in their return to their respective campuses. The MOVE program has been very busy this year. We have 72 students enrolled To put that into perspective, the last 4 years we've averaged between 35 and 40. So we've doubled this year, approximately where we've been in the past. 7 students have completed the program to graduate in May, and Miss Beth Ellis expects an all-time high of 25 graduates this year. And that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. The MOVE program has been pretty busy, and a shout out to Beth Ellis and then Kelly Melton in the middle school for, servicing some kids who needed that this year. You never really want folks there. You'd rather have them in the school, but for some, it's best, and certainly this year. All right, Mr. Browning, longest.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, board members. So kind of echoing on all the math stuff, great to see a lot of smiling faces today. Kind of what Mr. Watkins said, I had a young student whose whole school experience has been wearing a mask, and as he got on the bus today, he told me it was his best day ever at school. So, that was good to hear. But I also like the term optional because, at longest, we still had 30 or more kids that chose to wear a mask. And our staff went above and beyond to make those students feel comfortable. So I felt real good about that. Things going on at longest. Academic team placed second in our Governor's Cup meet this past weekend, or I think maybe last weekend. Charlie Davis is our coach, and she has done a tremendous job with those kids. And we're looking forward to see what they do at regionals. Our archery team was also in action at regionals, and a big shout out to Ann McGill for getting archery going back at longest. And they shot well at regionals, and we had Mr. J.P. Short was the top elementary boy at the event, and he's going to advance to state. We're also participating in Tuesday tomorrow, and then the following week is Read Across America Week. We've got all kinds of reading activities planned with dress-up days, and our leadership team is going to dress as Dr. Seuss characters and read some Dr. Seuss books to the students while cooking and serving them green eggs and ham. So we've got a big week going on next week with Dr. Seuss and Read Across America. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Browning. You got a little bit of a paranormal.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure what's happening there.
That's our report from the other side. We'll move on to Mr. Wells, South Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. Want to congratulate our 4th and 5th grade Beta Club. They raised, with the help of our student body, raised $1,054 and our team received the best team theme. So we want to congratulate them. Our attendance looked a tad better today. We're actually at 94%, which was good for us. And as many of the other schools, we plan to have way too much fun on Tuesday, which is Tuesday, 2/22/22 tomorrow. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. All right, let's go to Ms. Jones at Greenville.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm having a little bit of video issues, but I hope you can hear me okay. Got to start out with giving a shout out to our head custodian, Mr. Kevin Gunnerman. He definitely did something that I could never do, and they say a good leader doesn't ask anybody to do anything that they wouldn't do, but he did take the plunge yesterday or over the weekend and raised over $600 with our school. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think I could ever get in that cold water. So I really appreciate him taking one for the team. We had a lot of fun last week with our 100th day celebration, as we always do. But we carried that fun over to the 101st day. I dressed up like Cruella DeVille, and I had a lot of Dalmatians at the school. So we had a lot of fun and kind of helped our attendance those couple of days last week. Had a lot of energy, like everybody's talking about, in the building today. Very excited. Of course, teachers were talking about being excited. They were dangly earrings again, so they were excited about that. But in an example I wanted to share, I was doing an observation in a 2nd grade classroom. There were 15 students present in that class today, and out of that, 4 of them did choose to wear a mask. So definitely shows that our majority is not, but that those that choose to feel comfortable to. And that was a very, very strong day. And the kids getting back on the bus this afternoon really impressed me that they had those masks ready to go when they got on the bus. So we had maybe just 2 that we had to get masks for. It was really good. Shout out to the academic team. They were overall at the District Governor's Cup. Miss Calso and the entire team has worked really hard. So very pleased about that. And we're looking forward to tomorrow's Tuesday as well. So that's all from Greenville.
All right, thank you, Stacy. You know, she made a point on Mr. Gunnerman, how he interacts with the kids and all too. You know, he took the plunge, but when you're there, I don't think folks realize how much our custodians interact with our kids. And I mean, they're great. It's a relationship thing with them. It's wonderful. Not just him. I've seen him, you know, aggravating the part of them, him, but it's everywhere. When you go, you see that. So yeah, I'm glad she said that. Mr. Blake, Central City.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Thank you, board members. Just like everybody else, I want to say how nice it was to see the faces, to see the smiles. And we did have several who also chose to wear the mask. So we had a conversation this morning during our morning announcements about respecting the decisions of others. So everything seemed to go really well today, but it was nice. I got up from my office several times and would walk to the door and turn around like I was forgetting something looking for that mask. But it was nice to be able to walk out that door and not have it on. So I've got a few things that I want to mention. First of all, just like Ms. Jones mentioned, she's unwilling to jump into that ice cold water. I'm also unwilling to jump in that water. But we have a custodian, Mr. Ricky Lark, who was very willing to take that for our students. Central City Elementary School raised $1,440 to go toward the backpack program. Our original goal was $360, which would be enough to feed 3 students, and we raised it to then $600, and then we raised it to $1,000, and we just kept raising that goal. And ultimately, we ended up with that number of $1,440. So that's enough money to feed 12 students. So we were very excited about that. We also have a program that we've started this year called New to the Crew. Ms. Renfro is leading that charge. Any new staff members, whether they be new to Central City Elementary School, new to Muhlenberg County, or just new to the profession of education, she meets with them once a week. We have guest speakers, and they just talk about what it means to be in education. They talk about terminology and things to expect. So that's been going very well. Like I said, 11 members are involved in that. And I saved what I think is the best for last. We started a program called One School, One Book this year. We're using our parent involvement money for that, and it has been such a great thing for our students. Every day at school, our teachers and staff read the same book with the students. We read 1 chapter a day, and then we encourage them to go home and to read with their families at night, the exact same chapter we read during the day. Then the next morning, we have trivia questions. The students answer those, and they can win prizes that go along with kind of what was going on in the chapter. So in one chapter, for example, the student or the child in the book went swimming, so we were able to give a pool pass to a student. One day they had ice cream for dinner because they were getting some bad news, and so we were able to do an ice cream party. So it's been great to tie those things in, and the students have really enjoyed that. So I'm looking forward to finishing the book. We're about halfway through. And then rather than doing Dr. Seuss for Read Across America Week, we're going to do things tied to the theme of this book. So I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. And for any of you who know Ricky Lark, the one he's talking about, I think his beard could be used as a flotation device. So he's not going to go under. I think Mr. Sharp, who does have a face for radio, is on radio right now. So I think Lori Stover is filling in for him.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Mr. Davis, I thought you were the one picking us and turning on our cameras, so I was waiting.
You should know better than that.
Yes, you should.
Well, for the millionth time, and I don't think we can say this enough, but the optional mask is very epic right now in everything we're going through. I do like the word optional. It's a very sensitive situation for all of us humans these days. And there was a handful at our school as well that chose to still wear one. And I'm so glad that everyone has thought about what I was worried about too. And that was, I didn't want those who did choose to do that to feel hesitant or to feel some sort of pressure And I'm so glad that we're so sensitive to that. I wanted to say also that we had participants in the plunge, and I have failed to find my note of all of those names, but I appreciate them too. There's no way I can do that. Even though these days I do get power surges, I would probably appreciate that water sometime or another. I would have maybe done it if I could have Carla's shirt from when she did the plunge in her BES days, and you guys are going to have to look up that picture from back in the day because it's quite historic too. A few notes that I wanted to mention. Other principals have been talking about the academic competition. Our team did well too. We're very proud of them. One of the most proud I have been of them is they got the Spirit Award, and I think that is a very big deal. Academics is always, one of our priorities, but the Spirit Award is very important too. The students vote for that, and they chose Freeman. And that is a tradition at Freeman. We have gotten that award for several years, and so I'm very proud of them for earning that. Now, we've had random acts of kindness the past week. So in and out of classrooms, Mr. Sharp and I would be given random things, little colored hearts with messages. Our STLP team created these messages of encouragement, and they were randomly on the walls through the hallways. Those were wonderful. Another thing, and I have to brag on Mr. Sharp because I've got a note to talk something else about him in a minute. He did this about a week before Random Acts of Kindness, and he posted on our social media, "We love the BES staff." And he attached a link to a Google form, and I think he got this idea from Mr. Davis. But it was a Google, I had to say that too. It was a Google form, and there was questions, just very simple. Choose your staff member, and every staff member was listed. Custodians, bus drivers, teachers, classified, everyone was listed. Then you could type in a message. Those were printed out and handed out to all of the staff members on Valentine's Day. And at the top, this was the way we started. It's very important to say thank you, and today that's needed more than ever. So they got a chance to say thank you, I appreciate you, that kind of thing. We have a beta induction coming up on March 1st, and just like everyone else is saying, tomorrow is 2-2-2-2-2-2-2-2-2 forever, and we're going to be twins tomorrow. Finally, I had a note here. When Miss Bumps showed the basketball game, I didn't see Mr. Sharp there anywhere. Now, it may have been the angle, but I'm wondering if maybe he's just propped up at home, fuzzy slippers and his robe, like binging Netflix.
You're getting him in trouble now.
But I'm happy to be here with you guys. It is so good to see you all, and thank you for listening to my report.
Thank you, Lori. Well done. And that I know it takes a while, but those are always working. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you so much. All right, and our personnel actions are in our minutes. So we will move on down now to the attendance and enrollment report with Mr. Hardison.
Thank you, Chairman Rager. I want to apologize for my video camera. It's causing me some trouble tonight. Just do want to give you a couple quick numbers. The 5th month, we ended up with a 90.61 percentage that month, and our standing enrollment for the 5th month was 4,228. Now, it just worked out that the 6th month is ending tomorrow, so we're getting very close to getting numbers there. And I do want to share with you, watching daily numbers, that our enrollment has been kind of falling a few days. So it's, as Mr. Davis mentioned earlier, the numbers there at 428, it's actually been the last few days, it's down to around 4,200. It is our hope that once we got to this point where we made mask optional, that many students would be comfortable and would be wanting to come back. And so we're watching that. Today we did see a positive return. And so today our enrollment was at 4,202. So we're keeping an eye on that. All right, that is my report.
All right, thank you. need to update its score on the game.
Yes, yes, I'll get it, I'll get one.
All right, get one for us. All right, so we'll go down now to item C, review of personal information data security practices. Mr. Wells?
Thank you, board members. As a district, we have to follow the state's guidelines and best practices for data security. As a district, we do follow these. These include, but are not limited to, email security, password policies, server security, and educating users about email best practices and internet best practices.
All right, thank you. You might as well stay standing up because we're going to get you to do our board action item A here, considering our technology plan.
Thank you again, board members. You have a copy of the 2022-2023 technology plan. It's very similar to our current one, with paying for the wide area network, which hopefully will be under the new AT&T contract. Chromebook parts, we'll probably buy a few Chromebooks just to have on hand, and not a major refresh yet. Windows software licensing, support SLP, support the Google Classroom. One change, we will be starting our teacher workstation replacement cycle this year. And so that will be one of our bigger expenditures. I'm asking for the consideration of the passage of the technology plan.
I need a motion to consider the technology plan. I have a motion by Mr. Gilmore, second by Ms. Barr. All in favor of considering the technology plan, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. We'll move down to item B, Family Resource and Youth Service Center School District Assurance Certification for fiscal years 22 to 24. Ms. Ingrid.
We'll follow Mr. Wells' lead and just stand right here, if that's okay. This is a formality. Every 2 years, the Family Resource Centers across Kentucky have to complete their continuation program plan to tell everyone and to put it on paper what they're planning to do as far as programming that they're required by the state. And it's just a formality, honestly. It tells you in that you should have a copy of that in your folder. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but it's basically saying this is what we as a center will do. You all know that they are very busy.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving Family Resource District Assurance Certification, please say aye. All opposed? I hear none. Move down now to item C. That's to consider allowing the district to post a part-time instructional assistant position at Greenville Elementary for the remainder of the school year.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody can hear me. Just wanted to just say something about our principals. I've got a couple of requests here for positions. These positions that the principals have been requesting are for specific and direct student aid, and RTI or those positions that are needed to directly help our students in one way or the other. So I commend them on the use of and their requests and the use of their funds before I even ask for the first one. The first one that I'm coming to you with is one for Greenville Elementary. They're asking for a part-time interventionist to help with their kindergarten students, and I have the decision paper in front of you that kind of explains reasoning, and Ms. Jones said she would be happy to answer any specific questions. They're asking to use their allocated ESSER funds to be able to fund that position. Once again, that is for the remainder of this school year, and it is part-time. Do you have any questions?
Need a motion to approve. I'll make a motion. Motion by Ms. Wells, and a second by Mr. Gilmore. All in favor of considering the part-time instructional assistant at Greenville Elementary, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. All right, item D is to consider to post a full-time instructional assistant at the high school for the remainder of the year.
This one is one that Ms. Bumps, we have talked about this for a while. We thought we had a situation in place where we could assist Ms. Bumps with this position, but as of right now, her, that's a view there, her, Okay.
It's the closet. It's the custodial closet in the gym.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was turning it
I just didn't know what I was seeing.
It's not the restroom. I'm sorry.
Okay. This person will primarily serve as the ISD, in charge of the ISD room at the high school right now that is being, the administrators are taking turns watching ISD. We thought we did have another situation that would help this, but that hasn't worked out for this year. So we're asking to post this position for the rest of this year to reassess, to look at for maybe next year what we need to do moving forward. So this will be paid for through general fund.
Any questions? If not, I need a motion to consider the full-time position at the high school. I have a motion by Mr. Bowers.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of considering the full-time position at the Muhlenberg County High School, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.
Thank you. It's like when you get tickled in church, okay? This is really.
Okay, item 8. Oh, you're still up. No wonder you're still on there. Item 8 is to consider purchase of unified talent records.
Okay, this is actually to purchase a program that will allow us to, and I'm going to just basically read what I wrote because it's going to say it better than I can right now. It's a management software. It's a system that digitizes current paper records as well as indexes and organizes documents for efficient retrieval. It will replace a software package that we currently use, but that software package that we're using now does not have the functionality we need to effectively manage our records. And right now, we currently use another program with this same company that allows us to do the hiring process for job applicants. This will take it a step further, which will allow us to digitize everything. It will be more convenient for our employees. They'll be able to do everything pretty much by computer. It'll be a little bit easier access for people. It will be somewhat of a time saver for the principals. It'll not involve them having literally to go around, walk around and get signatures because things can be done more efficiently on computer. The one drawback on this is it is a little bit more expensive than the last or the current program we're using, but we did try the other program and we have for about 3 years because we thought maybe we could save some money, but it's just not doing what we need it to do to manage our records efficiently. So we're asking to enter into this agreement with Unified Talent Records.
Any discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve. I have a motion by Mr. Johar, second by Ms. Carr. All in favor of considering the purchase of the Unified Talent Records, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're down to item F, to re-award bid for sound barrier wall at Greenville Elementary School.
This is like my time this time is deja vu, like every agenda item I've got. All right, so we awarded the bid for the sound barrier at Greenville Elementary, and when I called to set up moving forward on this, the gentleman first question out of his mouth was, "Who are you getting to put this in?" And I said, "You." So he said, "No, it was just for the product." And I said, "Okay, that's not what we needed." So I apologize. So what we did is I moved to the next lowest bid, which was from AIL Materials. I called him prior to everything and made absolutely certain that they are the ones installing this, and it is a turnkey solution. So I'd like to award the bid, or ask you all to award the bid to AIL Materials for $140,880.
Questions? I'll make a motion to approve. Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of re-awarding the bid, Greenville Elementary to AIL Materials, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Item G is to consider MOU between Western Kentucky University and the Muhlenberg County Board of Education.
Chairman Rager, board members. This is the Board of Education that would like to enter into an MOU with Western Kentucky University. It's an educational cohort. There are several districts that are involved with this to grow leaders within the organization. The costs for this program will be divided into thirds, a third being paid by Western Kentucky University, a third being paid for by the district, and a third being paid for by the student themselves. Mr. Davis has anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, that's something we've been working on with some other districts. There's about, I think, 5, 6, or 7 districts going in together, getting like a cohort, and they'll all work together, maybe 2 or 3 from each district potentially. It's a great deal for potential administrators. Someone want to go into that, and it's a way for us to help to recruit administrators that they're kind of hard to come by. Not a lot of folks are wanting that job anymore. So Western kind of brought it up, and we've kind of worked with them and kind of gone through this. So we're, again, something that would normally cost $10,500, I believe, is now going to be $3,500 each. You know, certainly for the person. So I wish I'd had that deal back in the day. So we're excited about it. We're putting applications out because it'll be application based, because it can't be everyone. We don't have the money or the space for that in the cohort. But I'm excited about this and certainly encourage you to approve it.
So who makes the decision as to who gets in and multiple?
We'll have to decide that. We'll work with the principals on that group here. Honestly, we're not quite that far along yet.
Okay, is there any questions? All right, if not, I need a motion to consider. A motion by Mr. Gilmore, second by Ms. Ford. All in favor of considering the MOU between Western Kentucky University and the Muhlenberg County Board of Education, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. We'll go down now to item H, to approve revised BG1 for the cafeteria expansion at the Muhlenberg County High School.
So this is take
10.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Chairman Rager. Okay, so this kind of ties into both this agenda item and the next agenda item, so I'm just going to kind of shoot both of them at once, okay? KDE, that should be the only thing I should have to say, and we should go on and approve it. But in order to do this, we use the old district facility plan to get the project going. So we put it on there. Well, in order to use SFCC dollars, it has to be the new district facility plan because it has to be a tier 1 project. So this previous DFP had it as a tier 5 project, cannot use SFCC dollars, so it would put it all in general fund. So we cannot do that. So what I had to do is basically this BG, I zeroed everything out. So now you're approving the revised BG that says everything is zeroed out, and then we're going to move to the next one, which will be the new BG with the new numbers in it.
This is just a glimpse of why everyone's so frustrated with that department. And there's a task force put together to try to help improve this. I mean, I'm going to try to be nice here, but it's just difficult to get things done, and it shouldn't be.
And I was on that task force. I mean, and a lot of the things, you know, a lot of the purchase orders that the direct purchase orders for this project were under the old DFP, and we signed them just to get these things purchased so we could get things moving along, knowing full well that we're going to have to re-sign them with the new DFP. But we have to, you know, we're not going to delay the project just for red tape bureaucracy. So I ask that you approve this zeroed out BG1 so we can move to the next BG1.
Any motion to approve?
Motion.
All of the above? Yes. Have a motion by, we'll say Ms. Wells, and then a second. Ms. Barr. All in favor of zeroing out this BG, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. We'll go on down to item I, which is the new one with the amount.
Yes, thank you. The ayes were resounding. Thank you so much. All right, so this new DFP, the one really awesome thing about this now is that when I called our bonding agent about the SFCC dollars, do you recall that when we originally decided this, it was 750,000? Well, with some of the new funds available, it's about 1.2 million now. So it's gonna add some more relief on our general fund. So that's the biggest positive I see coming out of this one. So it's the same numbers, except less on general fund, more on SFCC.
Need a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Jowar. Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving the revised AG1 with the new DFP, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.
Thank you again. I sincerely hope that's the last time I'll be with that.
All right, now we're down to item J, consider the 22-23 student accident insurance.
All right, this is the student accident insurance that we vote on every year. It's the gap coverage for someone if they get hurt while they're here, and if their goes towards their deductible or whatever that might be. That's what this insurance is. It remains the same as fiscal year 22. So I mean, in the time of everything going up in price, this one has remained flat. So I'm really excited to bring that.
Any questions? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Wells.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of considering the 22-23 student accident insurance, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. We'll go down now to item K is approval of SBDM allocations for the fiscal year 2023.
Thank you, Chair. Like only three more. This is the SBDM allocations for fiscal year 2023. They remain at $110 per student. We did actually use the actual enrollment this time because there were some schools that it benefited and there were other schools that it did take away from, but in some cases it was minimal, in other cases it was a little bit of a larger movement. However, we felt that it was good to do it this time. So it's still at $110 per student.
Any questions? I'm going to make a motion to approve. Second by Mr. Jowar. All in favor of approving the SBDM allocations $110 for fiscal year 2023, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear you. We'll go down now to item L, which is to consider the purchase of time clock plus employee time system and sub-caller.
Again, Chair Rager?
Yeah.
Currently, we use a paper system to track hours. It's slow. In fact, it takes her about a week to go through those sorts of things. It allows for error, which, especially on the classified side, it's based, retirement is based on hours as well as not just days. So we'd like to implement the electronic time clock, which will help that. It also imports into Munis directly. So, human hands aren't touching, counting, those sorts of things. I'm really excited about that. It also includes a sub-caller system. So Melody and I have vetted this system very thoroughly and looked at several other systems, and we keep coming back to this one. So we'd like to ask you to allow us to implement this product. It's the initial cost is significant, but again, we have the ESSER funds that we'd like to try to use for this. One-time costs are $68,000, and annual cost will be $34,000, which is actually less than the current employer right now. So eventually, we'd like to take a look at staffing situations and see if this will help control that as well. Are there any questions?
I need a motion to consider the purchase.
I make a motion.
Thank you.
Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of considering the purchase of the time clock and employee system and sub-caller, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, we'll move down now to item L. and that is to consider a 3-year audit agreement extension with Car Rigs and Ingram.
I do want to tell you all thank you very much for that last one. That's very important. I know a lot of the school secretaries were also really pushing me for this as well. So I want to tell you guys thank you very much. This is a 3-year audit agreement extension with Car Rigs and Ingram. Again, we've discussed them at length before, but they are, we feel like they're very fair with us. They have a very good working relationship. However, they will point out if something is wrong. That's the one thing that I'm really, I like about them because, you know, they're going to keep our feet to the fire, but they're still very fair about it. So that's something, it did go up a little bit. However, in discussions with other districts that have them, we actually got off less than they did. So
quite honestly, the reason I'm for doing this because you don't want to get too comfortable. And I don't see that at all with this group. Matter of fact, 2 or 3 things that could have gone either way as a finding or something. And Eric has made his case and they've said no. And I respect that, you know. Well, you're going to try to do that. You want to keep it off there if you can. Hey, it's a small thing. In some cases, I probably disagreed as well. I was with Eric on it, but they're like, you know, this is what we think is right, what we've got to do. So it's not one of those just, you know, pat you on the back, thanks for the money, move on. This is a big deal. You get groups that are going to look at us in a good, tough way, but be reasonable and listen. So I've been very pleased working with them and when they've gone about their business, even when they didn't tell us what we wanted to hear.
And I can call them anytime. Let them know a situation, and they will provide guidance. I mean, so it's not just, you know, the audit services that they do. I mean, like if I need something else, they do provide that service. So they've got more hours in throughout the year than just the audit.
Motion by Mr. Jones. Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of considering the 3-year audit agreement extension with Car Rigs and Ingram, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, item N. Eric took up all of our time tonight. So, consider COVID-related protocols, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, and that's really not as relevant now as it has been. We can go ahead and I would suggest maybe saying something along the lines of continue, optional masking as outlined. But so that I don't need to go through it all again. I will tell you an update before we're out of here. It is 16-13 bad guys in the tournament at halftime. So we're down 3 at halftime. Our ladies. Sorry to Tommy Burrow and McLean County calling them bad guys, but just in this case.
All right, I make a motion to consider the COVID-related protocols to continue as optional masking.
I'll second.
Ms. Wells. All in favor of the COVID-related protocols, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none, and we'll move down now to our board consent agenda items. This includes our approval of our minutes of our prior board meeting, leave of absence request, and field trip requests. Any questions regarding that?
The request here for the data, Muhlenberg, middle schools.
Jerry, is Jerry still on?
Yes, sir.
Give us your take on this program here, what's going on?
Okay, well, we're planning to take 53 students to Gatlinburg, and like I said, we've already collected money, which this is contingent on you all's on the approval by the board, of course. But since the trip is March 9th, 10th, and 11th, we went ahead and we've taken up some deposits. We've taken up a $100 deposit. There's going to be, I think, a total of $55, $200 to be paid. So that's $11,000 that we're going to collect toward the trip. So we've already got $100 deposits already made, with the second $100 deposits coming in.
How about the bus situation?
The bus is extremely expensive. A charter bus is going to run us $6,878. Is the quote the beta sponsor gave me as far as the numbers go. The summit registration is $50 a person, which is $2,650. And what's kind of going to make this affordable for the kids is that if we're allowed to put 4 students per room. If we're allowed to put 4 students per room, that puts our total cost of the trip. And when I say total cost of the trip, I'm just saying if we're allowed to put 4 students per room, the bus, registration, and rooms will run $12,000. And we're going to collect $11,000. But they're doing a fundraiser too, which is strawberries. I think it's going to come in at a little over $1,000. So we can kind of, at 4 students per room, we can cover the bare bones of the trip. But if we do 2 students a room, it's going to bring the lodging costs up to 14. I mean, with the lodging costs, it'll be 14,000 instead of 12. So that'll add an additional $2,000 to the rooms if we go 2 kids to a room versus 4. If that makes sense, I hope you all followed me on that.
Yeah.
You've been discussing Penny and Metro Tech had contacted and discussed. My question is, if we're doing everything for student achievement, we got $29 million sitting in the bank, and we're not a non-profit organization, when are we going to start helping the students to go in and learn something? I don't care how many groups we have to fund it to, put a cap rate, put a percentage we're going to help through the board, and that's how we're going to have some activities with these kids. Parents can't afford $200 for every trip. If they got 3 kids, that's a lot of money.
That's a tough conversation to have on the fly right now. That's a special call board meeting or a work session.
At some point we need to come up with, I spoke to Eric also, he made a point, that we can't give it, everybody's going to demand. If everybody is doing something for the kids' future and kids' life, then it's a valid thing. Again, don't participate 100%. Give a cap rate of, cap it, will help 15% of your total budget. If it's not over $4,000 or $3,000.
And we've had this discussion before, and it just was, for each group that we have, what they do in their groups are different, with different activities, different amount of monies and things like that. So, as far as this, what they're asking for is an approval. So, if down the road, potentially, there needs to be some assistance, and they come back,
I would also
we would have to
suggest,
try to consider possibly.
and as I suggested before, I would fully recommend that we do discuss with our transportation department, but $6,800 for a charter bus is high. If we have the assets available to get our students there for less than that amount, I think we need to explore that as well.
I think she called Kim, like you had said, to call Kim, but with shortage of drivers, shortage of buses right now, when I go out, I see all the other schools participating. How are they participating?
I assume it's probably exactly the way we.
Okay, I just want to.
But it's a worthy conversation.
I'm not saying that, give 15% of 200,000, but that have some kind of a limit. When the
I think it's
public.
worthy of discussion.
Yeah, I agree.
So. I agree. And it's not just for Beta or anybody, as long as what trip, it's an educational trip, look at what they're collecting, how much they're collecting, how much they're fundraising, and then we say, well, they work hard, they're short this much, let's pitch in. Especially having fun, and it's all about student achievement. Our nursing can wait. these trips and are more important, education more important, kids learning, building positive relationship with other schools, so watching them, is more important to me. Every parent can't afford. I bet you what, all those kids who are collecting $200, half of their money is coming from their grandparents. Yeah, and we can smarten our kids.
Well, any other discussion on the board consent agenda items? All right, I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Wells and a second by Mr. Gilmore. All in favor of approving the board consent agenda items, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. We are down to adjournment. Need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Ms. Clark. Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none, and we are adjourned. Thank you all.